This is Alice Francisco. She comes from Pimbi in Balaka District. Like many women in Malawi, she found herself in an abusive relationship. She didn't know where to take her matters to until someone, someday, told her she could access justice. Perhaps Alice is one lucky woman, and so are many women, girls, and the elderly in her area.
Mlandu umene utu ukanandivuta kwambiri chifukwa kanakhala kuti khoti likhale kuti lili ku Balaka chifukwa kuchokera kuno ukafika ku Balaka pali mtunda wautali omwe mwina sindikanakwanisa mayendedwe. Ndimamva kuti za ku khoti zimakhala kuti ukabwera lero iyayi mukabwere tsiku lina nthawi yonse ukhala kuti munthu ukuluza ndalama. Ndiye ine mwina zikanandivuta chifukwa ndalama zoti ndizigwisa ntchito ngati transport mwina zikanakhala kuti sindikuzipezayi zimene zikanakhabe kuti zikukabe moyo wanga pachani kodi pachiopsezo.
But why is that the case? Doesn't every human being have a right to access justice?
So access to justice in gender-based violence is quite a tricky issue. So first and foremost, we have the problems of geographic accessibility.
So access to justice in people living in rural areas is quite difficult. In Malawi, we tend to have courts primarily in the districts, but in the districts we'll do them at the headquarters, so near the DC's office, the district commissioner's office. Often in other rural areas within the districts, there are no courts, or even if there are courts, they're extremely far for everyone to reach.
Well, to think that an average Malawian has to travel 30 to 100 kilometers to access a sitting, for people living in hard-to-reach areas, access to justice is just impossible. But perhaps not impossible, because Malawi Judiciary Services runs mobile courts. What are they?
Mobile courts is the judiciary's own initiative. It's just that most of the time the judiciary doesn't have the money to move the courts. So we work hand in hand with partners that provide us the funding.
Mobile clinics, so we're bringing the courts and justice to the people. So we move with a magistrate or someone from the judiciary, and we go to these far-to-reach places where people have already registered complaints, and we sit there and actually have courts in the open.
For the people of Balaka like Alice Francisco, this is where Oxfam and its local partner, Center for Alternatives for Victimized Women and Children, have collaborated with the Malawi Judiciary and the Women Lawyers Association.
So the initiative in this project, that of mobile courts, is very important because it will assist to reduce the gap that is there between the communities and the access to justice through the courts, because the courts will go right there in the communities to hear gender-related cases, gender-based violence-related cases right in the communities.
But before bringing the courts, Oxfam and CAVWOC raise community awareness on gender-based violence and related issues, and all stakeholders are involved. And here's why.
Timabwera ndi anthu ochoka ku khoti chifukwa ku khoti kuti kugwira nawo ntchito limodzi mudzera makhoti oyendayenda, komanso timabwera ndi anthu ochokera ku social welfare amenenso amaonanso umoyo wa anthu kudera pakati pa amayi ndi abambo komanso akujenda chimodzimodzi. Timabwera nawo limodzi akuchipatala, aku polisi timabweranso nawo limodzi, awa amathandiziraso ku nkhani pamene tikamapanga za makhoti oyendayenda. Komanso tikamaona nkhani za nkhanza sitimagwira ntchito tokha, timagwira ntchito ndi anthu onsewo chifukwa wina onse amatengapo gawo ngati akuchipatala, ngati munthu mwina wagwiriridwa akuchipatala ndi amene amathandiziraso kuperekanso chani umboni kamene achitsimikizo kuti munthu watani wagwiriridwa. Aku polisi chimodzimodzi ndi amenenso amatha kutenga nkhani yonseyo kuti pakana kafika chani ku khoti. Koma mapeto konse aku social welfare ndi amenenso amathandizira kuti munthu uja akhale wathandizidwa kuma nkhani yachani ya malingaliro kuti athe kukhala ndi malingaliro oyenera bwinobwino amatha kuthandiza kupasa uphungu chifukwa timagwira ntchito limodzi.
And how do Women Lawyers Association come into play in all this?
So the collaboration between Women Lawyers Association and Oxfam and other organizations such as CAVWOC is very helpful and very instrumental in the fight against gender-based violence, but also access to justice. We have collaborated to conduct various activities. First one being legal clinics, where we go into far-to-reach communities with high incidences of child marriages or gender-based violence, and we go and we listen to people and we take on complaints. But in addition to the legal clinics, we also conduct awareness campaigns where we go into those communities and we empower them with legal literacy. We inform them about their rights and the remedies that are available to them and which courses that they can go, how they can access the courts. We're then also collaborating with mobile clinics, and in mobile clinics, so we're bringing the courts and justice to the people. The purpose behind that is obviously first and foremost access to justice to individuals. But it's also important that people in these areas see how the law works. They see how the law can come into their lives and protect them. But it is also then a way of deterring would-be perpetrators of gender-based violence, trying to perhaps maybe deter them from that sort of behavior, but also informing them that what they're doing is wrong and it's abuse. So it serves various purposes, but ultimately at the end of the day, the collaboration is geared at ending gender-based violence, but also access to justice.
And how efficient are mobile courts?
Well, we are able to dispense with a lot of cases when we do mobile courts because you just have dedicated days of hearing where you are just dealing with a particular. So if it's a gender-based violence mobile courts, you have all the cases in one bundle, you go to the particular place, you finish all of them, you leave. Whereas if in the ordinary course of things, you do them, once you do one gender-based, then you have to do something else and something else. So you find that the frequency is not as often. And also when a magistrate is doing a camp court, they are strongly advised that there can be no adjournment. So you have to try as much as possible for this case to be complete.
And how do communities feel about this arrangement?
Wamenera bwera ili bungwe kunoko ama mobile court tikutha kukhala pafupi ndi anthu aja ndipo tikumatha kuziwa chiona chenicheni kuti m'bale wathu agamulidwa motere komanso mboni zonse timatha kuzikhala nazo pamodzi. Pamene kubalaka kuja zimativuta mwina mboni zija zimafuna kuti mutipase transport kuti tiyendere yosefe zimatisokonekera. Ndiye milandu yathu imangopezeka kuti tayinyanyala tayisiya. Kwa panopa zikuyenda nobwino ndipo anthu tayamba kuziwa chiona chenicheni.
On 29th May 2025, Alice Francisco's case was heard by the Balaka First Grade Magistrate Stanford Majoni, and Counsel Hazel Miseleni from Women Lawyers Association of Malawi represented her. She sought divorce from her abusive husband, and she says her life was at risk.
So the court has no option but to grant the petition and that this marriage is hereby dissolved.
Chigamulo chimene yakuti anapereka dzulo nakhutira nacho chifukwa anapereka chigamulo chokwanira ndithu kwa abambo kuti choyamba apereke ngati chindapusa kaza zimene akhautani kodi akundipangira anachapidwa kuti apereke ndalama. Anauzidwa kuti kunoko asabwere mwachisawawa pokhapokha akhoti abwere kuzatani kodi kuzatigawanisa katundu. Ndiye chigamulo chimene anaperekacho nakhutisidwa nacho ndithu.